Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Shifts and Pucks News Pack for Tuesday, July the 20th, or Wednesday, sorry, July the 20th. Happy Wednesday, not Tuesday. Days getting mixed up as the summer continues here. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Shifts and Pucks, Facebook.com Shifts and Pucks, YouTube.com Shifts and Pucks, Twitch.com Shifts and Pucks. Subscribe wherever you get your audio, as well as on the Area 51 Sports Network. As it's been another tough day in Calgary Flames land. And probably in a lot of ways not unexpected, but still tough and still sad and a lot of emotion right now going on Calgary Flames Twitter. But first, and there's two stories to follow on. Johnny Gaudreau wrote a thank you to Calgary in the Players Tribune. We'll start there. He wrote this today. Of course, he signed with Columbus last week. He started my Flames family. I hope you can understand my decision more after reading this letter. I appreciate how much you wanted me to stay in. I hope you can see how hard this decision was for me. He goes on to say, last week he kept thinking about the conversation I had with my parents towards the end of my junior year at Boston College. I had the option to stay at BC and become a free agent and sign with an NHL team the following year, or report to the Flames. But all I wanted was to be a Calgary Flame. I felt I owed it to the organization who took a chance on a 5'6", 130-pound forward from the USHL. I wanted to show them I could be the player that they believed I could be. And then he goes on to say, I went up to Calgary for development camps. I saw how deep a connection the people had to their hockey team, even just for games made up for prospects. We get so many fans at the rink. At the city saw us, and I thought to myself, this is a hockey city. Ever since those early days, I've understood that hockey in Calgary is just different. It's a special place with great people. And he goes on to say it, but as much as I love hockey, family is everything to me, and it's the most important connection I have. And a few years ago, I think I started to realize how much you sacrifice when you give 100% to your career. I felt like I needed to do more to center my family in my life after we experienced some hard times. My dad's heart attack in 2018 was a big moment for that. It was really so bad that he's lucky to be here today. A very scary situation. And seeing him in that hospital bed, it hit him extremely hard. I thought about how little I'd seen my parents since I'd been in the league. These moments and experiences change you as a person. And then he goes on to say, another big moment for me was when I met Meredith. After my dad's heart attack, I bought a vacation home in hopes that my family could spend time together and have a place for my dad to relax more after we nearly lost him forever. And that's how we met. Meredith was my next door neighbor. She was an NICU nurse at the time. I was blown away by the work that she was doing. And over the course of a relationship, I learned a lot from her about how to balance those two things: a passion for your work with a passion for the people in your life. And I've learned a lot about the person I want to be, which is a good son, a good husband, and soon a good father. And it goes on to say, as much as I love Calgary, I think Meredith and I just felt that it was going to be very hard to continue living as far away from our families as we've been living, especially as we were starting a family on my own. And then he goes on to say, I've heard that people say I was using Calgary for leverage, that I always knew I was leaving. I've heard people say that kind of money I'm making and with how easy it is to hop on a plane, location shouldn't be an issue. And while I normally wouldn't give that stuff the time of day, I feel like I owe it to the Flames fans, to be honest. For what it's worth, I didn't know for sure I wanted to do up to the last hours of the last day. Man, ever I turned down the 8-year deal from Calgary, I still thought about going back and trying to work out on a 7-year deal to stay. I wondered that. I wondered even after he turned down the 8 if he was thinking about it. It was all on the table for the entire process. Maybe that seems messy, but life is messy. I'm incredibly grateful to be an NHL player and to be making the salary that I make. I don't take it for granted for a second, which contributes why money was not the main deciding factor for me. But the idea that Meredith and I can just fly to and from home or have our loved ones visit no problem because we have money, it's not that simple. Our families still work full time. Our siblings have their own lives. Our nieces and nephews are in school. It's a tough trip for folks to make, and it's only got tougher with the pandemic. Also, something interesting there, the pandemic, and it's hard for us to get out east as well. It's things like missing your grandfather's funeral or having very sick relatives that make the distance so painful. And you remember that feeling when planning out your future for your family. Um, And just one more, I'll just read one more paragraph here, but that doesn't change the way I feel right now. I'm so proud to have been on this team and to have represented the city. And these last few weeks I've been struggling every time I think about that. All of the relationships we built here, all the amazing friendships we have, I can feel those in my chest every time I thought about leaving. So obviously with Johnny, it was a very tough decision for him to leave. Hope it gives some people clarity. I think there's still going to be some emotion with all of this with Johnny Gaudreau. And that's the fans' understanding, and that's your prerogative, but that's his perspective, and that was his prerogative as well. So, again, I feel all the best to Johnny. No, I understand where he's coming from, and just to wish him well. But that wasn't the only thing that happened. Just a couple hours ago, it just was Haley Salvian and Jeremy Rutherford reported in The Athletic. Salvian reports for the Flames. Rutherford reporting for the Blues that Matthew Tkachuk was told the Flames that he will not re-sign long term. Eric Francis just tweeted out today that he that they have been working on a trade since Tkachuk told them that they have been working on a long. He decided to not decide. Told the Flames that he would not sign long term, and of course, the Flames filed for arbitration this week. Club elected arbitration. The teams that look like that are on Tkachuk's list include Vegas, St. Louis, Nashville, Florida, Dallas. At least 5 of them. Possibilities of Jersey and the New York Rangers could be involved, but he hasn't officially asked for a trade, but he asked for a trade. And I think that they're working on trying to get this done immediately. Obviously, with Brad Treliving, just with the whole Johnny Gaudreau situation, the longer you have with the Matthew Tkachuk situation on that Paul fit in there, I think it's just tough on the organization. It's been a tough offseason for Brad Treliving for sure. Tough offseason for the Calgary Flames for sure. And we'll talk about this more. But in some ways, there's a small part of me that wonders that this whole thing turns out to be better for the Flames in the long run. I don't know if I would sign Matthew Tkachuk to a long-term deal. I said that before. I think that there's still some things that I want to see from Matthew Tkachuk. That playoff performance against the Edmonton Oilers has soured me on him. I think it was fair to expect more after his first 100-point season. But maybe someone pays too much for Matthew Tkachuk. Maybe someone decides that it's really wants him and wants to sign that 8-year deal and is willing to do it overpay. It's going to be interesting to see what Brad Treliving does here. So that story isn't over. We do expect a Matthew Tkachuk trade to be coming. Select teams involved for sure, which means could be select, but let's I in some ways it's a very sad thing, but there's a part of me also that wants to be very pragmatic and see what the Flames come out of this with. I know that people are demanding a rebuild and say just tear everything down. I would like to see just a cautious approach here before you just panic, sell everything right now. Let's go through this thoughtfully. Let's go through this patiently. Let's just wait and see. Because even a true rebuild, even a true teardown of this Flames team, the way that some people want, it's not going to get you Connor Bedard. Not likely. And the other thing that has to be talked about here is recent signings like Tanev, Markstrom, Coleman. But what do these players that are currently with the Calgary Flame organization want to do? Maybe they want to try to take a run back, and it's going to be harder without Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk. But there are players that don't replace Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk, but still could keep them competitive. And so again, what do you get for Matthew Tkachuk? What's that trade? What else is out there? I think there might be some players on this team that are like, you know what? Screw it. Let's try to take one more run at it. And it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow for the Calgary Flames. Very tough pill to swallow. But I think the pragmatism and just wait and see what happens and being a little bit more patient, maybe more prudent than tearing down an entire organization at this point. That's just me at this particular point. You may see it differently. Let us know there as well. The other situation, a couple of other things to watch here. Watch out we haven't talked about this, but the Pierre-Luc Dubois situation in Winnipeg is becoming a complicated situation as well. It's not getting as much play as the Matthew Tkachuk situation and the Johnny Gaudreau situation, but the speculation is long here that the Pierre-Luc Dubois has wanted to go play with Montreal, and that trade rumor continues to happen. His agent, of course, has indicated that. And of course, back in 2022, or at the draft, according to Paul Friesen, Dubois was anticipating a trade. And the Jets are seeking a hefty return. According to Montreal Hockey Now's Marco D'Amico, they were asking for Nick Suzuki or Cole Caulfield. So that's a situation. I know that all eyes are on Matthew Tkachuk, but we'll see there. I mean, I also wondered if Kirby Dach would be part of that package. So Cheveldayoff is seeking a massive amount for Pierre-Luc Dubois. So we'll have to see what happens in that situation as well. That's another one I think that not people are watching here, but that's something to watch as we go forward here. The other note today, just from Rick Westhead involving Hockey Canada, he just recently tweeted this out. And just we'll get that here. Basic that the Hockey Canada questions with the standing committee will be on next Tuesday, and we're looking to see what some of those questions are. Wes had just tweeted this out. Latest government hearing scrutinized Hockey Canada's response to 2018 abuse allegation begins Tuesday at 10 Eastern. Witnesses scheduled to testify include Daniel Robitaille from Hein and Hutchinson, Sports Canada exec Michael Roost, and Sports Minister Pascal St-Onge. Witness scheduled for Wednesday includes Scott Smith from Hockey Canada, Tom Rennie and Dave Andrews, CHL President Dan McKenzie, and commissioners of the WHL, OHL also are scheduled to testify, as well as MJHL, as our former Hockey Canada VP Lenny McCurdy and Barry Lorenzetti from the insurance company BFL Canada. So Tuesday, Wednesday will be another day to watch those Hockey Canada questions. Of course, revealed yesterday through an investigation in Globe and Mail about the fund, the multi-million-dollar fund in case of situations like sexual assault and all of that. There's a lot of questions going still to happen, and hopefully we'll get some answers next week as to what is going on in that situation as well. And that is pretty much the news for today. That's the big news. We'll be doing a special podcast tomorrow, scheduled for tomorrow, with with Devin and Heidi are going to return, and we're going to talk and dissect the Flames, dissect a little bit about the Leafs. We just a lot going on, so we'll be doing that special podcast. We'll be live Thursday, 5:30 Pacific, 6:30 Mountain is the original schedule time here, but we'll keep an eye out on that as well. And so that is the news for today. Of course, you can follow us all individually on Twitter. Sean Beardy Canuck 03, Tyler TNOBLE, Devin Gordhow 09, Christian Schneids SCHNAIDZ, Heidi Amazeballs, and Living Amazeballs as well. And of course, I am KVOLE, Shifts and Pucks, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Subscribe wherever you get your audio. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. We'll talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.